But so
now, around 1963, I'd done a lot of illustrating for magazines in those days as well.
right.
When you're freelancing, you make your money wherever you can. It could be a portrait or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was quite successful, and I moved up to Aurelia and built a home on Lake Couchiching there.
Okay.
And I still live there.
Right.
And I decided to take, I was going to Chicago for some other purpose, which I don't remember right now.
Right.
And I took along some of my illustrations from magazines. In those days, illustrating has kind of died,
Right.
you see. But in those days, it was just at the end of the heyday of illustrations. And one of the news weeklies, a weekend magazine, would hire me and a few other artists to come up with a concept that could be run as a 2 or 3 or 4 page feature with the pictures.
Right.
And they'd assign a writer to do the captions and a little story, you know, and it'd be a day at the beach. One of them was a day in Mennonite country.
Okay.
A fraternity party.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Where you could use your experience in the
Yeah,
fraternity
and
house.
this my technique, and I also did a lot of stuff for the Toronto Star Weekly.
Uh-huh.
And through this, I developed this kind of drawing.
Uh-huh.
And one of the jobs I had at W.J. Gage was to finish a textbook, or 2 textbooks. They were high school text readers. That had been illustrated by a guy named Oscar Kahane, one of the greatest illustrators of the time.
Right.
He even had stuff in the Ontario Art Gallery. And he died in a collision.
Okay.
And there they were, stuck with half the books done, and would I finish them? And they gave me all his originals, and I'd been sort of a realistic kind of Rockwellian type, having studied
Right.
under his course.
Right.
And it exposed me to Oscar's technique. And I was talking to the editor of the Weekend magazine in Montreal, and he says, you know, I did my first one in inks, and he says, you know, Oscar never worked in inks. He had worked in aniline dyes, P.H. Martin's aniline dyes.
Right.
And I didn't know they existed. And he said he also works on this kind of board.
And those are the Doc Martens, right?
Yes, yes,
Gotcha.
that's right. And this board is, the paper on it is Arches from France, and it's 100% rag.
Right.
And you put the two together, and it's just beautiful.
It's a real thick
Yeah,
board.
yeah. So anyway, I started doing my work with this influence. We're all influenced by somebody before us.
Right, sure.
And it went very well for these types of illustration. I was going to Chicago, I can't remember why.
Yeah.
And I decided to take along some of my stuff to Playboy.
Yeah.
And the art director that I saw at the time, I could just get up and see him in those days, you know.
Right.
And he looked at my stuff and he said, well, it's great for illustrating, but we'd rather use you as a cartoonist. And I said to him, I didn't think that was my bag. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Right.
And he told me what they paid, and I said, it's my cup of tea. And so I've been doing it ever since.
Okay.
And I said to them, I said, I don't think I can think up the captions. He said, well, we can supply you with captions. They liked my work that much.
Okay.
And so I, after that, started submitting my own too and getting some of them accepted. And
Did
then
you meet
after,
Hefner at this time? Did you ever
I
meet?
met him
'Cause I know
in
he wanted to be
Montreal
a
at the
part-
Playboy Club.
He did a lot of
yeah. Oh, he
comics
was really
himself.
into it. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I met him at the opening of the Playboy Club in Montreal in 1967 when we had our centennial.
Okay.
I was there at the same time, and I met
Right.
him there. So anyway,
Yep.
after that, I started employing people to write lines for me.
I see.
And I have 5 writers now.
Really?
Well, yes.
And they come up with the gag line.
They come up with the gag line.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will sweeten the gag line.
Okay.
You know, or change it, or I'll phone them and I say, this doesn't work, how about if we do this? And when I'm notified about a meeting when Hefner's going to look at stuff, Mr. Hefner looks at everything I do, you see.
Right.
And he approves it.
Yeah.
And in those days, I still do, I send it to New York, and then it goes to Los Angeles, back to New York, and then the approvals to me.
And that is, now these are, you have a book here called Unpublished, which
Unpublished Sneyd.
Unpublished Sneyd.
Yes.
Which are, these are all ones that you've, and this actually shows the process of how you put these together.
Right.
And how it works from the sketch to the, well, I guess the thumbnail, the initial idea, to the sketch,
approved by Hefner,
to the rough color, and then to the final, the final piece.
That's right.
And this is full of wonderful, wonderful drawings and sketches. I think there's one here that you particularly pointed out, which is, I don't know if we can get a shot of this, but it says, "The bridal suite again, Shirley."
Yes. Yeah.
And these are
cartoons that never made it
into Playboy,
and I've got hundreds of them. You see, because they can't accept everything.
Yeah.
And so I decided, when I was invited to California to San Jose's show, which is the first one I went to, it was suggested that I have a book published. And so I put together my favorite rejects from the past since 1963, you see.
That's great. And you're also, I mean, this is actually this month's current Playboy, and here is your cartoon here. Again, interestingly enough, it's 34 years later after the one there, and this is also a one about computers.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to turn this around, read the caption. It says, "If compatibility is a problem, I think you'll find me?" Yes, me. Very user-friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, we love Playboy.
Yeah.
Never pass with the censors, but so you're still going strong, still doing them. About how many do you have one in every issue? Do you do about 12 a year?
Yeah.
Because you're a mainstay.
Or sometimes more.
Yeah, you're a mainstay in the book now.
Yeah.
And if people want to purchase Unpublished, of course, Playboy they can get pretty much everywhere. But if they want to get Unpublished, you have a website, is that right?
Yes, www.dougsneyd.com.
All right, and that has all the information on here and more.
Yeah.
And I think I also want to mention, in the National Archives of Canada, 229 pieces of your work are there.
That's right.
And I think 24 of them are Playboy cartoons.
That's right. And I just recently sent them 6 more.
6 more of the Playboy cartoons.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's quite an honor.
Yes, it is, and I'm happy to do it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's an honor having you here with us today. Doug, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure. We wish you all the best, and we'll keep an eye out for your work in Playboy.
Yes, that's great.
Finishing up with Doug Sneyd. We'll be right back after this.